Be quiet, stay in the shadows. If the cops catch us, run, and if they catch you, do not tell them our names. This is what I was told when I joined two graffiti artists as we were walking to find a good spot in Iowa City to put up their graffiti. The conversation also turned to what our story would be if we were to get caught and if whether or not the cars in the distance were police officers. Once we got to the location, both graffiti artists, who go by the names Sane and Apollo, picked out their spot and worked in almost complete silence for about 2.5 hours. Both Sane and Apollo became interested in graffiti at a pretty young age.
I mean, being, loving graffiti and growing up in Davenport, you just constantly look for the people who are in it. So, eventually you just run into people.
Graffiti is often thought of as juvenile or criminal, but what a lot of people don't realize is how much of a subculture it actually is. Both Sane and Apollo are a member of the same crew called NTC. A crew is a group of graffiti artists that put up work throughout the country or sometimes several countries. NTC originated over a decade ago with only 2 members. There are now 18 members throughout the country, the oldest being 38 and the youngest 17. If Sane wants to put up something more elaborate, which he usually does, he has to go out in the middle of the night or sometimes several. So why does Sane do this? Why put so much at risk to put up graffiti?
It's not a pastime, it's a lifestyle. And this is what people don't understand about graffiti, is that there's more to it than just simple vandalism.
Walking through downtown Iowa City, residents can spot a lot of tags, which are quick little symbols that are put up on almost anything, but it can take a little more hunting to find the really good graffiti. Sergeant Troy Kelsey says that there are 2 types of graffiti in Iowa City, the juvenile stereotypical graffiti, and then there's the other kind.
And on the building tops and on some of the railroad cars, you have very elaborate murals that are actually kind of neat to look at.
Kelsey says that this type of graffiti is rarely reported.
It kind of sounds silly, but those people, those taggers, are oftentimes fairly responsible in what they do. They aren't tagging individuals' homes or garages or things like that. It's a relatively minor intrusion.
Even though many graffiti artists rarely get caught, it is still mind-boggling why anybody would want to spend 3 hours painting with the risk of getting caught. Sane has had several close encounters with police, and you can hear the excitement in his voice when he talks about them.
And I just finished the last line, and all of a sudden a car turns up in here, and so I run onto that roof right there, and then the car pulls right up there, right up next to that, right next to that car. And I thought for sure he saw me because it was a freaking cop.
It was?
Yeah, it was a cop, and I ducked down like this. I just laid flat like this on the roof. And I was like breathing hard. I was like, I got nowhere to run if he gets out of his car. All he did is go up there, and then he backed out and went out. I slid down there and just ran home.
It's obvious that this type of activity isn't for everyone, and Professor David Watson says it takes a certain sense of motivation to be a graffiti artist.
I suspect for some people the fact that it is somewhat dangerous and it has a legal aspect makes it more attractive. It makes it not only art, but also a political expression. It reflects your relationship with the prevailing society. It makes it more attractive and more powerful to the people who are doing it.
Professor Watson may know the psychological reasons why Sane and other graffiti artists go to the street with their art, but Sane knows the more personal reason.
It's destruction and creation at the same time. But the intent is not completely to destroy, but to reshape and give color to a place that needs it.
Around 4:30 in the morning, Sane and Apollo were done with their pieces and took pictures because they'll probably never see it again. The walk back was a lot less tense than the walk there. They congratulated each other on a job well done and then headed home to go to bed. They had to be up for class in the morning. Kelly Teeslink, Daily Iowan TV.